All over the world, we get to come across oddities that rarely fit a particular scenario. These moments can range from funny to comedic to even tragic. In football, we've been lucky enough to see some truly bizarre moments that don't happen all the time, but when they do, become part of the game's rich history. From players deciding to play for a draw, to intentionally scoring an own goal, to dogs deciding to relieve themselves at the expense of a player, I'm sure that all of us have seen our fair share of bizarre scenarios unravel on the pitch. So we thought, why not do something different today and give our amazing viewers something really unique to enjoy. As always, our comment section is open for a furious round of debate, and our subscribe button keeps craving for some love. So, let's become part of this family and enjoy everything related to the beautiful game. We're going to start off with the bizarre antics of the Barbados national side during a Shell Caribbean Cup game in 1994. The tournament was actually a qualifying competition for the Gold Cup and took place in Bridgetown, the capital of Barbados. Barbados players were leading the game with 3 minutes left on the clock. However, they decided to score an own goal to take the game to extra time. Why would they do that? Well, it turns out that in order to qualify for the Gold Cup, the island nation needed to score a golden goal, which would count as 2 goals. The game went into extra time, and Barbados did score that much-needed golden goal. Trevor Thorne was the man who scored the goal for the home side, who won the game 4-2 because of a risky decision. It was definitely one of the most high-risk, high-reward instances in football history. The early World Cup matches were very unique in the sense that the world was going through massive upheaval on all levels. However, the semi-final of the first ever World Cup between Argentina and the USA, yes, the Americans were pretty good at it at the turn of the 20th century, in 1930 presented us with one of the most farcical moments in the game's history. The game was played in Montevideo, and the Americans were not happy with the roughhouse tactics put on display by the Albiceleste. Legend has it that a US trainer was so mad at the referee's inability to make the right calls that he decided to leave the bench and race onto the field to confront the man clad in black. The referee was not having any of it, so the American trainer angrily threw his medical bag to the floor. Little did he know that his actions cracked open a bottle of chloroform, which effectively knocked him out for a little while. The Americans, though, were motivated by the bizarre setback and started playing with the sort of panache and poise you would see from their team 80 years or so later. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough and they lost the game 6-1. Taking a penalty kick can prove to be a horrible experience for a few players. Some players decide to go for unique run-ups, only to see their effort reach the Earth's outer orbit faster than a Jeff Bezos trip. Remember Simone Zaza's bizarre jog before missing a spot kick for Italy? Well, it's nothing compared to what Peter Devine did during an FA Trophy game between Lancaster City and Whitley Bay. The game was level at 4-4, and all 8 penalty takers had found the back of the net, and the manner in which Devine placed the ball on the spot with all the poise and focus of a seasoned veteran, we had no idea that the next seconds of his life would be what made him so famous. He took a few steps back, started his run-up, but as he got closer to the ball, stumbled ridiculously. While trying to maintain his balance, Devine unintentionally stroked the ball a couple of yards forward. Knowing full well that he'd made an utter fool of himself, Devine did what anyone would. He pretended to have been injured, with the opposing goalkeeper showing great sympathy, albeit trying to control his laughter. Lancaster lost the game, and funnily enough, it was the clumsy fall that led to the defeat. Manchester United legend Eric Cantona was quite some player. However, he also had a dark side that was exposed during a league match against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park in January 1995. The King was constantly being abused by the fans and grew tired of one fan's constant abuse. Matthew Simmons thought that he was safe in the stands, but Cantona was not having any of that. The enigmatic Frenchman decided to take matters into his own hands, wrestled himself free of late kitman Norman Davies, and launched a 2-footed kung fu style kick to the fan's chest before aiming a punch at him for good measure. Cantona was escorted from the field for his actions and banned from the game for 8 months. Simmons, meanwhile, had his season ticket confiscated by the club. Sometimes referees make dubious decisions. In most cases, it's more human error than anything else. However, there was this instance of a referee in the Belarusian Premier Division not doing what is expected of a referee anywhere on the planet. Sergei Shmolik was voted Belarus's finest in 2007, but in a league game between Vitebsk and Naftan, his actions showed that even the best can have bad days. According to reports, Sergei spent most of the game bumbling around the centre circle and showed no interest in keeping up with the play. He did not even issue warnings to a player, despite some nasty tackles flying here and there. At the final whistle, he was helped off the pitch by a colleague, in the same way your best mate would drag you out of a bar when you're too intoxicated to think things through. Shmolik was eventually suspended and to this day claims that he was not drunk during the game. Weather can be quite a bitch at times. There have been loads of instances where football players have been injured and even killed after lightning struck a football pitch. In Europe, a lot of fixtures get postponed due to frozen or waterlogged pitches, but no one can plan for a lightning strike. In 1998, during a South African League game between Moroka Swallows and Jomo Cosmos, lightning strikes on the pitch created havoc on the pitch and in the stands. 2 Swallows players fell down as lightning struck the pitch. They were kept in hospital, but the injuries were thankfully not very serious. It was a stroke of luck because in the same year, a game in the Democratic Republic of Congo ended in tragedy when a lightning strike killed 11 players. Sometimes it pays to have a measured personality running your country. Unfortunately, Zaire did not have that when they became the first black African nation to qualify for the World Cup. The competition took place in 1974 and was hosted by West Germany. Now, seeing your country play in such a prestigious competition for the first time ever has to be a source of immense pride. However, Zaire's leader, Mobutu Sese Seko, did not want to see his team go to Europe just to make up the numbers. The controversial leader informed the players through his armed guards that if they lose to Brazil by 4 goals or more, they will face dire consequences. So, it was understandable that Zaire centre-back Mwepo Ilunga decided to avoid a harsh fate befalling him and his teammates when Brazil were awarded a free kick from 25 yards out. As Jairzinho got ready to take the free kick, Ilunga left the defensive wall and thumped the ball upfield, leaving the Brazilian players gobsmacked. The commentator almost uttered a laugh and the referee issued a yellow card. Thankfully though, Zaire lost by 3 goals and the team was allowed to return home without fearing for their lives. They arrived with their heads held high and intact, and that's all that matters. There have been many strange injuries over the years that have ended careers, but nothing comes close to the bizarre injury that ended the late Sheik Brody's playing career. Brody was a goalkeeper for Brentford, and during a game against Colchester United, a dog ran onto the pitch. The match was at full flow, and a simple back pass to Brody was never really going to cause a lot of trouble. However, the moment Brody caught the ball, the dog ran and launched itself straight into the goalie's left knee. The Scotsman crumbled to the ground, and it was later found that he'd seriously damaged his ligaments. While he did manage to play 5 more games for the newly promoted Premier League side, Brody was forced into retiring early from the game. Sadly, things never looked up for him, who would become a London taxi driver and died in 2000 at the age of 63. Okay, so this isn't necessarily a bizarre incident, but what legendary Colombian goalkeeper René Higuita did in an international friendly at Wembley against England was the stuff of legend. The game itself was as boring as a wet weekend in Wigan, so the Colombian stalwart decided to drag spectators out of the death trap of the snooze fest by doing something that's never been repeated to date. Jamie Redknapp receives a pass from 25 yards out and goes for a regular cross. Nothing dangerous, right? Well, the former Tottenham man mistimes his cross and the ball loops towards the ever so flamboyant Higuita. Mostly in these cases, goalkeepers try to do an awkward back shuffle and try to palm the ball to safety. But Higuita was as mental as they come, so he decided to jump forwards and kicked his legs behind him while doing so. The ball was safely manoeuvred out of the danger zone through a piece of skill that might never be repeated again. The reaction of the crowd was telling, but Higuita decided to be humble about it, even though Redknapp himself was equally bemused as everyone else inside Wembley at what had just happened.